Aho, ako se máš? Welcome to Chef's Gear. Today we are going to Czech Republic, so check it out. In today's episode, I'm going to prepare some Czech classics, which is smażony syr, tatarska omacka. I haven't butchered the pronunciation completely, which is fried cheese, breadcrumb, of course, with some tartar sauce. But before we do that, I want to introduce you to a drink. So as soon as you arrive in Czech Republic, they're going to force you to drink it. It's a herbal liquor, quite strong, quite flavorful, very nice. But for some people it's slightly too strong and too powerful of a taste. So I'm going to prepare a kind of like a mixer today, which is the Czech mule. So what you need for that drink is basically ice cubes, lots of them. Just make sure you fill the glass. Then you need some lime or lemon, but lime's much better. Squeeze it in, maybe a wedge for garnish, just like so. Then you need a measure of the Beherovka liquor, 50 ml is absolutely fine. And then you just top it up with some ginger ale or dry ale. Just like Moscow Mule, but it's Czech Mule. All right, nice, refreshing, very herby, and delicious. And it goes great with some fried cheese. Basically, all you need for your dish is some good quality cheese. You can use cheddar, you can use Gouda, you can use any other melting cheese. So I'm using Gouda. For crumbing, of course, you need some eggs, milk, flour, breadcrumbs. And what you're gonna do first is prepare the eggs. So you put a dash of milk into your eggs. This will make them slightly runnier. Beat them up, combine milk and eggs. Now let's put some gloves on. Get all three in line and let's start crumbing. So first, you need to do it really thoroughly. You don't want any cheese poking through the breadcrumbs, because when it's poking through the crumbing, it will leak in your frying process. So cover it first with flour, then with some egg mixture, press it down, make sure you press it down really good, and repeat the process. Just put them back in the eggs, just like that, press it down, cover, 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 just make sure there's no cheese poking through. There you go. I'm gonna make one more. So for the next step, it's good to put these two bad boys in the freezer for at least 15 to 20 minutes. Of course, you can store them this way. And the process of refreezing is good because it will keep the cheese cold. It will make the crumbs stick, and when you fry it, the crumbs will cook and will get golden brown, while the cheese is slowly melting through. So it will give you a sort of like, a couple of minutes of safety margin. All right, so let's put it in the freezer. Okay, so now the cheese is in the freezer, let's get to the next step, which is the sauce. So for my tartar sauce, and of course there's like thousands of different variations and varieties and variants of the same sauce. So for my version, I'm using mayonnaise, Greek style yogurt, just to make the sauce a little bit lighter and fresher. I'm gonna use some shallots, parsley of course, a clove of garlic, you don't want it too garlicky, and of course cornichons and some seeded mustard. To finish, of course, salt and pepper, and maybe a drop of lime or lemon juice. So we'll see when we adjust the flavor. All right, so for the amount I'm making, so I'm using approximately 200 grams of mayo, 1-to-1 ratio with the yogurt, so 200 grams of yogurt, just like that. And you need to chop down your ingredients really fine, or you can cut some brunoise or brunoise, how it's rightly pronounced. So you take shallots, and it's up to you whether you want to make it chunky or a bit smoother, a bit runnier. I like my tartar sauce really chunky with a lot of ingredients in it. So got the brunoise. Let's do the same with garlic. Just squash it. I'm gonna score it, just like that, and dice it up. And I'm gonna do the same with cornichons. So first, I'm gonna make some thin slices, then cut it into julienne. Don't be too particular about it, it's just dressing, right? Just to make sure there's no chunky bits, I'm just gonna chop it through a couple of times. And in it goes in the bowl. I'm gonna take some parsley. And everything goes in the bowl. Seasoning. Mix it through, just like that. So add some mustard, and I'm using fresh seeded mustard. That's the best for dressing like that. All right, and our tartar sauce is ready. Good advice here, especially when you use yogurt or any type of dairy in your tartar sauce. It's good to put it in the fridge for at least an hour or so. So the sauce dressing will slightly set, it gets thicker. So you don't want it too runny. Let's put it in the fridge. In the meantime, we can take our cheese out of the freezer. It's already been like 10-15 minutes, so let's take it out. All right, so now it's time to fry the cheese. So I'm gonna use a deep fat fryer because I have one. I've set my deep fat fryer on exactly 170 degrees. I'm gonna dip the basket in straight away and gently gonna dip the cheese into the oil. No sudden moves here. Just gonna take off the crumbing. And do not overfill it. It's like if it's overlapping or anything, or it's laying on top of each other, they're probably gonna stick. So make sure they're slightly apart. Just give it a shake. So while the cheese is getting nice and brown, let's fill the ramekin with some sauce. Make sure you prepare a lot of this, because once you give it to your guests, it will disappear. All right, let's fill the ramekin. And now it's time to take the cheese out of the fryer. All right, very gently take it out of the oil. You can use a spatula if you do it on a frying pan. Be careful with your tongs in order not to squeeze the cheese too much, because when you squeeze it, you're just gonna squeeze the cheese out. All right, make sure you put it on a paper towel in order to get rid of the excess fat. Give it a sort of like a 10-20 seconds of rest. It's time to plate. I probably should use tongs or some kind of tools, but it's a rustic dish, requires rustic measures. All right, some garnish now. I'm gonna use some parsley. Make sure there's some color. Traditionally, fried cheese is served with some French fries, but I'm just after the cheese today. All right, so as you can see, it doesn't get any easier than that. So if you like the recipe, hit the like button as hard as you can. Of course, if you want to see more of us, hit subscribe. Let us know in the comments what other recipes I can try out for you. I would definitely do them. I thank you guys very much for watching, and I hope I see you next time.